In the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Drakthar were a name spoken with dread. They were a towering, armored species bred for conquest, their empire stretching across star systems like a spreading fire. To the smaller races, they were gods of war, their voices thunder and their claws death itself. Every planet that resisted was crushed, its people enslaved or annihilated. For thousands of years, no species had ever stood against them and survived. The galaxy's truth was simple: no one defies the Drakthar and lives. When their warships appeared in Earth's skies, humanity experienced a fear it had never known before. Colossal vessels blotted out the sun, descending like dark omens over the cities of man. Missiles, jets, and armies were thrown into battle, but they fell like waves against cliffs of stone. Entire nations crumbled within days. Humanity's hope dimmed as the world realized they were no match for this brutal, ancient species. Yet in one small, forgotten corner of Earth, destiny had chosen an unlikely defender. In a quiet, rural village surrounded by fields and rivers lived Eli, a boy of just 10 years. He was ordinary by all accounts, skinny, often teased for his small frame, with wide eyes full of curiosity. His world was simple: feeding chickens, climbing trees, listening to stories his grandmother told of courage and honor. But within Eli's heart burned something invisible, something not measured in muscle or weapons, an unshakable defiance of fear. When Drakthar scouts stormed Eli's village, terror spread like wildfire. People hid behind doors, children were muffled in basements, and prayers filled the night air. The armored giants stomped into the square, their weapons humming with lethal energy. The commander of the unit, taller than any human, sneered at the sight of trembling villagers. It was always the same: fear first, surrender second, then enslavement. But this time something broke the cycle. A small figure stepped into the open. It was Eli. His legs shook as he walked into the center of the square, the ground trembling with each alien step toward him. The commander paused, baffled. A child dared to face him? What is this? The alien growled, his voice a rumble of storms. The villagers gasped, some crying for Eli to come back. But the boy only clenched his fists tighter. He looked up at the towering monster, heart racing but voice steady, and said, "You don't scare me." The words, though quiet, struck like a blade of lightning. For the Drakthar, fear was their weapon, sharper than claws, heavier than warships. Without it, they were just flesh and bone. The commander laughed, a sound that shook roofs and rattled bones. A child dares? But something about Eli's eyes, unwavering, unbroken, made the laughter falter. The Drakthar soldiers, who had never seen resistance without arms, looked at each other uneasily. The villagers too stirred, peeking from their hiding places. Eli did not run when the commander lowered his massive claw, smashing it into the earth just before him. Dust exploded, rocks shattered, but the boy's feet stayed rooted. He trembled, yes, but he did not fall. "You think we are afraid of you," Eli said, his small voice echoing strangely loud in the silence. "But we are not." Behind him, one by one, the villagers stepped out. An old man with shaking hands, a mother clutching her daughter, then dozens more. They stood behind Eli, unarmed yet united. For the first time in centuries, the Drakthar hesitated. The foundation of their empire was cracking before their eyes. Fear had always been the chain binding their enemies, but this chain was breaking. The commander raised his weapon, but noticed his soldiers shifting uncomfortably, their eyes flicking nervously between the humans and him. Could it be possible that even the mighty Drakthar could fail, not in battle, but in spirit? Eli stepped closer, so small against the giant's shadow, and whispered words that no translator was needed for. "You will lose." The words rippled through the alien ranks. It wasn't bravado. It was truth spoken with the raw certainty only a child could hold. The villagers echoed his stance, standing shoulder to shoulder. Their courage was contagious. In that moment, Earth was no longer defeated. Humanity had found its symbol. The Drakthar commander snarled, but deep in his chest, something unexpected churned: uncertainty. The boy's courage was not a weapon he could shatter, not a wall he could break. It was fire, invisible yet blinding. If this child's defiance spread to others, entire worlds would rise against them. The commander gave a guttural order, and to the shock of all, the Drakthar began to retreat. Their massive forms marched back to their ships, the ground shaking with every step, leaving behind a stunned but unbroken village. Whispers spread faster than fire. From village to city, from city to continent, the story of Eli reached every corner of Earth. A child had stood against the conquerors. A child had not been afraid. Humanity, beaten and bloodied, rose with renewed spirit. Soldiers fought harder, civilians resisted longer, and the once unstoppable Drakthar found themselves facing enemies who refused to bow. For the first time, they experienced the very emotion they had inflicted on others: fear. News of Eli's defiance did not remain on Earth alone. Across the galaxy, oppressed species heard the tale. A human child had faced the strongest and survived. They whispered his words in the dark corners of minds, in the prisons of conquered worlds, and in the silence of slave camps. "You don't scare me." Those words became a spark of rebellion. Civilizations that had been silent for generations began to rise. The Drakthar Empire began to crumble from within. Worlds they had enslaved fought back, rebellions spreading like wildfire. The mighty warlords who had once ruled through terror now faced the one thing they never understood: courage unchained. Their fleets still thundered across space, but victory slipped through their claws. And haunting their every failure was the image of a small boy who who had stood unshaken. Years later, when historians across a free galaxy wrote of the Drakthar's fall, they did not begin with the great battles or the mighty fleets. They began with a story of Earth, of a small village, and of a boy named Eli who looked at giants and refused to kneel. They wrote that strength does not always win wars. Sometimes it is courage, pure and stubborn, that breaks empires. And so the legend lived on. The galaxy remembered the day the strongest species learned fear, not from weapons, not from armies, but from the unyielding spirit of a single human child. Eli grew older, but his name became eternal, passed down as a symbol of defiance. Humanity had taught the universe a truth no conqueror could erase, that even the smallest voice, when it refuses to bow, can change the fate of stars.